You're here today because you're ready to learn how to make a schedule. Now, with schedules, we want you to know that this is not just to help build and better your business. This is to help build and better your life. So the first thing that I want to share with you is that you need to make sure that you have a schedule that's going to help you stay on track. So the best thing when you are building a business and you have a lot of life going on is getting one that's like an appointment planner. This one you can see has hourly sections. This is very important. So I'm going to share with you one of my favorite planners. I already have one because I'm almost done with this planner right here. This is by a company called Live Well Planner. The reason that I like this, they have a couple options, is because it's the 12-month edition that doesn't have years or dates on it. You fill in the years and the dates. So let me show you, for example. Every single month, you enter in the information. I always fill out my monthly calendar with key weekly or monthly things, and then especially any personal related monthly items that I need to put on my calendar so I know to save the date. Then there's a weekly section. You write what the week is, and you write the day up above. I absolutely love this because some months always end on a funny thing, so you can start the next month even before you see the monthly calendar, and you can continue to run your life, your business, your marriage, your family very efficiently. So this is what I use. Second thing that you need to have is a notebook. Notebook-wise, I'll share with you one that I really love. You can look at designworksinc.com. The reason I love this one, I'll open to a different page, is because it has dates up top and you can circle, was it February 13th? Yes, and then you can write whatever you need to do down here. So we're going to talk about having a follow-up list. I would highly recommend something like this for a follow-up list. Then I would have a second one that you can write a to-do list on. So I will show you exactly what to do with a follow-up list and a to-do list. A couple key things when building your Modere business: you need to have your tracker printed off. If you're doing the Modere Leader, you need to have both of these printed off. If you're doing the Modere Minute, have this tracker printed off, or the Modere Momentum, you need to have this tracker printed off. These trackers are going to show you what you need to do daily, and that's very important. Now, in regards to having a planner that's going to be your schedule, your notes, you want to have something that you can take notes in. So I'm going to turn to a blank page. Something that's very helpful for me is having a fresh page that I can circle the date and have a brain dump. Oftentimes people feel overwhelmed with a schedule because they have too much to do, but they feel they have too much to do because they haven't brain dumped. So one key thing that you can do is literally when things come to your mind, you just start to write them down. This will help you when we get into your schedule to see where to fit in these items, or if they're not that important, you move them over to the next day or to the next week. So let's talk about how to schedule your week. In order to set you up with success, you should have 3 colors to get started. Eventually, you won't even need these colors. But I would say for the first 3 months, because it takes 90 days to really create a habit, you should be color coding your schedule weekly. That means for 12 weeks, that's 4 weeks, which is 1 month, 3 times, 12 weeks, you should be color coding your schedule. So the first key thing is thinking, what day of the week am I going to make my next week's schedule? You want to make your week schedule ahead of time. I personally choose to make my week schedule on a Saturday because then it's before my Sunday starts and I feel all nice and refreshed. So when you're making your schedule, you want to be able to have your to-do list, which we mentioned, is making sure that you have some kind of note, planner, something that you can write a to-do list down, because you're going to fit those key things into your schedule here. The next thing you want to make note of is if you have any priorities with your current career, with your family, birthdays, baby showers, maybe you promise to take someone to the airport, whatever those things are, you need to have that schedule applied into your weekly schedule as well. So maybe you have notes in your phone or on a monthly calendar. You want to be able to have those key things where you save dates ready to apply to your weekly schedule. So let's get started. The first thing that I'm going to teach you is with your 3 colors. It doesn't matter what color you choose. You just need to have 3 separate colors. Red is the first one we're going to start with. This color means that you are not doing Modere. This is a non-Modere time. This could be a family thing that you're doing. This could be your other career, your job. This could be when you're having what we call a rest day, which is maybe your church day, Sabbath, worship. This could be when you're having a date night. This means no Modere time. This is the first key one to box out on all of your days. So let's do that first. So once you get everything filled in, so for example, I do worship, devotional, and then workout in the morning, and then I homeschool our kids. So we have different homeschool days, and we have different homeschool times. That might be like if you have a side job, you would block out when you're doing your work on your other career. And then there's other obligations. For example, we always box out dinner. We always have a full rest day, which we call our Sabbath. We always do a date night. Sometimes it's on our Sabbath, and we have a family night. So again, it's what is a priority to you? Working out, having a worship time for me, a Sabbath rest, or dinners, those are priorities for me. So that is when I am not going to do Modere time. Next on your list is when you have obligations where you could do Modere time. So for a lot of people, this might be when you're traveling to a job. That would be being in the car. You could listen to, maybe there was a training that you're re-listening to. That could be when maybe you're at your child's sporting event and you might be checking your phone, you might be talking to some of your business builders, but you're also going to be focusing on when your kid is playing, when it's their turn, maybe a volleyball tournament, something like that. So now you want to take some time and box out those times that are what's called yellow time. So for me, that would probably be our morning breakfast time. When we're getting the breakfast for the kids going, that might be a time that I check in with messages and I follow up with customers or business builders and I get back to people. So we'll fill that out. So now that I have my time filled out, for example, breakfast in the morning is a good iffy time, depends on what's going on with the kids, where I'm needed. Same with evening. There may be times where I might check in on something if it was a busier day. Otherwise, I might honestly, with this what we call yellow time, even though I put it black, I might honestly be reading a book and just getting to rest my mind, or watch a show with my husband and just have some alone time with him. It's just little things like that. Sometimes we might do like a movie night with the kids, but I might check on my phone and answer things. And this also brings availability if there was any last minute things that we need to help assist any social marketers with. We have the availability to do that. The last color that we're going to work on is our green time. So for those of you who have 5 to 6 hours a week, you're going to find you have very minimal amounts of time to plug in green time, but that's why this is so important. So it's important to look at, when do I actually have some gaps that I don't have priorities? Some of you might find that you really colored a lot of yellow time. Let's say there's a lot of yellow time. If you have a lot of yellow time, there's probably a good chunk of that can really turn into green intentional time. So again, what you find as a priority, you will make time for. So on Sundays, for example, I know I'm making space in my afternoon while our youngest one is napping to have focused green time. That's a good example. If you are working from home or have little kids at home, you can think about working around nap times to get good, focused, intentional time. Now that you see where you have green times available, this is where you can look at what are your priorities for Modere that you need to plug in daily, and find when am I going to plug that in daily. Or what are your priorities that are weekly that you need to plug in once a week. So again, it helps if you see your schedule, you can think, what day can I do these things? What day do I have more time? So for myself, with spending at least about 20 hours a week homeschooling my kids, I can think, Where can I create sections, which is what I've done, where I have uninterrupted time to do a bigger portion of what I need to do to help my team? Where can I have uninterrupted time to follow up with customers and send a message out to my people to see if they need any support? That's where we can really look at where do I have pockets to work in. The other key thing in working in Modere, especially for those that are leaders or building a business more than 5 to 6 hours, is we want to see where can we follow up a couple times a day. So for me, I'll often, usually during this yellow time, check my messages, and then I'll do it again in the afternoon, and I make sure to keep my phone away because I'm focused on helping my kids. So I'll check in the afternoon, and I'll create like a little pocket of my time to check on messages. I always make pockets of time because if I don't give myself a time frame, I could work on messaging people all day. If people message me back, I'll message again. Message me back, I'll message again. So I have to create a pocket, and then after that pocket, I get to what else I need to do. So then in the evening, I'll probably check my messages again. So at least 2 to 4 times I can check my messages and help be on top of any support that people need help with. So this is where you can really find prioritizing your time to be very valuable, because then again, you can check what do I need to do, and you can really plug it into your schedule. Now, for those of you who have a follow-up list, this is where your follow-up list comes in handy. Let's say I made from 3 to 4 o'clock on Sunday, and I also made same time on Monday, just to keep things consistent. And then I also did an evening. I'm gonna work on doing some follow-up. Even though it's yellow, I'm gonna be intentional and do some follow-up Tuesday night. And I'm also gonna do some follow-up here Wednesday night. I have my break day. I'm gonna do my follow-up here. And then I'm also going to do a Saturday night follow-up. Now with my daily follow-ups, where I'm wanting to follow up with people who are on my list, if I was making a note of people who viewed my stories, people who I commented on their stories, people who I commented on their posts, those kind of things, I'm going to write their name down here. So here's how I would see who to follow up with. All right, so here's a very quick, silly example. But let's say on 11/29, I was commenting on 2 stories, working on my 5 to 6 hour list example. I commented on 2 stories. I commented on a post. This was all through Instagram. So I wrote Instagram, Instagram, Instagram. And then I went to my Facebook, and I also commented on a story on Facebook and a post on Facebook. So I wrote their names to write down who I was commenting on. I wrote down where I did this so I know where to continue to follow back up, and the date that I did it. So then once a week, because the example of the 5 to 6 hour is once a week, go to your follow-up list. I'm gonna say it's Sunday, and it's during this pocket of time, I'm gonna send, this probably will take 10 minutes, some messages to people. I'm gonna go to Joe Johnson's Instagram page, and I'm gonna write a little comment, and it's, let's say 12/3 now. On Mary Kind, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna write a comment on her page too. Billy Marie, I'm actually gonna go comment on something else of his because I saw another post that he did. Sunny Pocket, I'm actually gonna send Sunny a message in Facebook because we have been following some things together. So I'm just gonna send a little friendly message, how you doing? I saw this XYZ on your post. Jenny Long, I'm gonna send her another comment. I actually saw she had a great story, so I'm gonna respond to the story, and that's gonna put me in her inbox. Tina Turner, I'm gonna do another response on her post or story, and so forth. So all of these people I followed up with. Now, if there was another person, Tommy 2, who was doing something, Benny Lou, again, I would write where I saw their information. I had originally messaged on a story, and maybe that was 12/4. So they would have nothing yet here in this first reach out. So eventually, maybe by the next week, I might message them again. I might write the date and then I'll message them. But this shows how many times have I touched base with someone, because I want to know, am I even bringing up a Modere conversation? Are they seeing anything of mine? Maybe I even write down on the other side, I keep track of who viewed my stories. And I saw Tina Turner viewed my story. Sunny Pocket viewed my story. So I could write down something over here, and that might even give me a little sign of like, wow, Sunny Pocket and Tina Turner viewed my story. Next day, I see their name again. Oh, they're viewing my story again. Polly Sue viewed one. But Tina Turner, Sunny Pocket, they keep showing up. They're finding interest in what I'm sharing, so I need to build a real conversation with them and ask them, how is life really going? They're very interested in how my life is going. How is their life going? And I can invite them into the business, or I can share my products more with them because they're really inviting themselves into my life. So this is a simple example of how you personally can keep track of who you can follow up with. If you don't write their name down, you're gonna forget to follow up with them. So even if you're not as detailed of the dates that you follow up with them, it's still great to have their name. And you could even put a little check mark of how many times you have been messaging them, or tally marks. I also have some friends who've been creating something like this on their own. You could create something on an Excel spreadsheet. It's whatever is best for you. But again, you wanna make some kind of tracker of who are you commenting on that's not in Modere, and who is viewing your stories. These are great ways to know, who should I share this business with? Who should I share these products with? They're definitely interested in what I'm doing. Lastly, if you're asking for support, like it says here on some of our guides, do you need added support? These kind of trackers are going to be something that your business coach is going to want to look at. Same with those with the 5 to 6 hour. If you're needing support, we want to see, who are you commenting on? Who's viewing your stories? We want to see, how is your schedule going? Are you getting in any green times, or is it all red or all yellow? We can help look at your schedule, and we can help you see if there's any available time that we can help you fit in what you need to do to get paid from Modere. It's these kind of things that we as your business coach can really be a fly on the wall and be like, here's what I see, let's try this out. And there's nothing better than asking for help and getting to hear what someone else thinks. The other thing that I love, when you have a separate journal for your follow-up list and a separate journal for your personal life, is before you go to bed, you can literally just start to jot down things that you know you need to do in your personal life. And I personally love to write a line down the middle of my paper, because I like to write, what is my personal to-do list? What do I need to get done? Am I tired of my bedroom being a mess? Do I need that organized? Are the dishes left on the counter? Do the dogs need to have more dog food purchased? Take the trash out, groceries. Do I need to organize some certain papers so I can pay some bills? Things that are priorities that take your time, or even things that you want to plan on doing. Do you want to order something to help organize your bathroom? Do you want to make time to write letters to your family that lives far away? Those are things on your personal list that you want to get off of your brain, because it's actually filling up space from thinking about what to get focused on. And if we don't write these things down, we feel like we're going to forget them, and then we feel overwhelmed. And when you don't have things written down, you're like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do, but I can't pinpoint what to do. That's because you need to write it down. So you need to write down things that you personally need to do, and then also things that maybe you're like, oh, business-wise, I really need to make it a priority to follow up with XYZ person. I continue to forget to follow up with them. or they're always last on my list, I don't get to them, but I really need to. Or I need to check in with my business coach and ask them this question. I need to ask for support in this way. So you can write down, what do I need to focus on for my business over here? And those are things you can make more priority for to put in your schedule here. All right, so for example, I have a brain dump of all the personal things I need to do and the business things I need to do. And then of course I have my, business tracker, so I know the daily things I'm going to do. And again, it's very ideal for you to follow this for 3 months, which is 12 weeks, because then these things become second nature when you're plugging them into your schedule. And until then, it's not second nature. So now I know all of this stuff, that it's automatic in my green time. I know where to fit it in. So now, let's say for example, I know this whole section of my day, I should have green for that, is doing my daily tracker, right? But I have this section where I have these extra business obligations that I need to do. And so I can block out time and say I'm doing this during that time. I may also see, oh, I need to go through my emails. That's not necessarily a work thing. I'm going to do that this evening during my yellow time. So I would write that in. Oh, I need to get back and write another letter to my grandma. So I'm going to do that during this yellow time in my evening. I need to plan our monthly schedule for our kids. So I'm going to do that during this time in our evening. So you can see I'm keeping my red time, my green time, Modere time, but I'm keeping my priorities that need to be done first, and then these get to fill in between the gaps. And whatever doesn't get done, let's say I don't get to organizing my photos, I put an arrow, which means that's gonna bump over when I make a new list. I'm going to write down organized photos. And the more I keep writing it and bumping it over means the sooner it's going to be done. If I've written this down 6 times and it's not done, I'm either going to learn this is such a priority, I'm going to create a red time for it, or this is really not a priority and it's really just distracting and I need to forget that I should even do that, because honestly, it's not a priority. I don't need to do it. Let's just wipe it off the list. It's fine. So that's how you can learn what is a priority, what needs to get done, what matters to me most. You're going to be making time for it here. To recap, leaders, you're going to find that you're going to have to fill out intentional time. And what that means is, if you need to be focused on doing something for your team and you're getting distracted by your phone, you need to turn off notifications, or you need to take your phone and you need to put it on airplane mode or set it completely aside, because you're not going to be useful to your team if you're not getting the things done that are going to help the team. So same with those of you who have 5 to 6 hours a week to do business. If you are not being intentional blocking out, this is my 5 to 6 hours of Modere time, you are not going to be helpful for your team, because you're not putting in the time to move forward with your team or your customers. So it's important for you to realize Modere is not taking up your time. 5 to 6 hours a week is very simple to make time for. Anybody without time can make 5 to 6 hours a week happen. What needs to happen is for you to intentionally block out that time and make it a priority. So I believe anybody has time. If they feel like they don't have time, again, ask your business coach. They can come look at this and see how can we help you adjust what needs to be changed. Sometimes when you're wanting to get from point A to point B, you do have to take out certain things in your season that don't need to be there. And sometimes more things need to be added on, and you just have to be more tight with your schedule. But the more that you do this, the more you will find time opens up for you, and you will find you become more efficient with your time, which helps time run with you.